Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
What's happening, my friends? Welcome back to podcast 63-2018. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neil. You can tweet me at the Public Dog, or you can tweet us at the Odds Breakers. College bowl season is upon us, and we have a huge jam-packed show for you today. I first discuss some NFL plays, as well as some sharp line movements, as well as the Army-Navy game. We then have Brian Edwards from BrianEdwardsSports.com and Vegas Insider to break down what's going on in college football. A lot of information actually about the bowl games, as well as some of the coaches. And we also then get into some UFC 231 plays and touch on some college basketball. Talked to Brian for a long time. Very informative. And then we bring on Cub Fan Danny for his UFC 231 play. So we have plenty for you this weekend. It's jam-packed and super excited to bring you this show. This episode is brought to you by mybookie.ag. For a 50% bonus, please visit MyBookie and use the promo code TheOddsBreakers. Terms and conditions apply. If you'd like to help us out with our costs, we would love to help you out. Please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a member for $12.99 a month. You will get our premium plays when we make the plays before the line moves. For $2 more, you become a patron subscriber and get all that, as well as our podcast a little bit early. If nothing else, please visit theoddsbreakers.com and subscribe to our free picks newsletter. Agendas. Well, college basketball has been rolling. Had a terrible beat tonight, and normally I don't bitch about it, but I got to tell you, Ohio, that game was supposed to go over with Xavier. In the last 6 minutes and 15 seconds, the game was really close, and they scored 1 point. They scored 1 point, and we lost the over by, it depends when you got it, between 5 and 9 points. Literally, 1 point, 6 minutes, and 15 seconds. That's going to happen. But the good news is last year during March Madness, we were 76%, making it a 50% for the whole college football season. So we're confident we're going to make plenty of great plays for everybody out there. So super excited about college basketball. Towards the offseason, we'll have some NBA sprinkled in, some MLB. We'll have some handicappers giving out premium picks for our members for that. And so, make sure everybody's always getting plays every single week. So if you have any questions, please tweet us at the Odds Breakers. If you're a handicapper and want to get involved, please visit our website and hit contact us. I'd love to see if we can help you out and help us out as well. Let's get into a little bit of what's first on the agenda, which is the NFL. Now, the first game I want to talk about here is from the crazy news of Mike McCarthy getting fired. And now we have Atlanta visiting Green Bay, laying 5.5 or 6 points. Green Bay is in Lambeau at home against a very disappointing Atlanta Falcons team. Now, this is a situation, if you've heard this podcast before, you know what I'm going to do already. This is the one I love and look for. A coach being fired means a lot to these players. It's a big statement, especially Aaron Rodgers, right? There's been a lot of rumors that Rodgers doesn't get along well with the coaches and some of the players, rolls his eyes. And actually, some of these rumors are coming into fruition. Now, maybe some are overblown and maybe some aren't. But this team was in complete disarray. But now, because of some of the blame being shifted a little bit all over the place and people asking questions, this just adds more fuel to this fire, baby. Jeff Saturday even came out and said how bad it was when he was blocking for the Packers, when Rodgers used to be in the huddles and roll his eyes in the huddle when he got a call from Mike McCarthy. He went out publicly and said that. I love the fact that this thing's building up so much because this makes it great for sports betting. Now, the Packers have to prove one thing. They have to prove that they don't suck, and it's not the coach. They have to prove that, it was the guy that left the organization more than them. And so this team is going to play out of their freaking minds this weekend. All right? Out of their minds. There is no more excuses now that they fired the coaches. All right? And they have to prove that they can play not only for this year, they have to prove that they can play for next year. And everyone's going to remember the next game after Mike McCarthy gets fired. That's what they remember. And they know this. Now, the Packers are normally pretty average at everything so far this year. You see this in the power rankings, the efficiencies, the defense, the passing, the running. They're very dysfunctional, I think. But Aaron Jones, man, they run the ball really well when they do with him. And I think there is some opportunity there. Now, Atlanta has the worst defense efficiency in the league. Literally the worst in the league now. And they also have the worst rushing defense over the past few weeks. The worst. The Packers would be crazy not to just hand it off to Aaron Jones a ton of times and don't try to do anything too cute. That's what I think is going to happen this game. Atlanta's season is pretty much over at 4-8. I think the players know that. Ever since they have some excuses, lots of injuries, Devontae Freeman out, Kiev O'Neil. They do have their share of excuses, but it doesn't matter. I love fading teams that are away in this situation where, the season's over. They might try to win at home a little bit for their fans, but when they go on the road, there's absolutely no reason to put up a show here. Green Bay has every single reason to put one on Atlanta. I'm taking the Packers -5.5, -6, and I feel really good about this play. It's a strong play. Next, we have Cincinnati versus the LA Chargers. Man, those Chargers should not have beaten the Steelers last week, right? I mean, that's what everybody thinks. And I think that too. I don't know how they blew that game, but that doesn't matter in this handicap here. The Chargers are the third best team in the league from an efficiency standpoint. The third. That's higher than the Patriots. That's higher than a lot of great teams. And they've been extremely healthy this year. All right? Especially in the trenches. Now, they lost a few people on defense, but they seem to have made up for it. Now, Melvin Gordon is out. But there's some great backup players like Justin Jackson out of Northwestern last year, running the ball great. Austin Eckler passing the ball from the running back position. Cincinnati ranks worst in the NFL against the run. Worst. 153.3 yards per game they give up. Chargers actually rank pretty high against the run. They rank 10th. The Chargers, from a total yards perspective, are 8th in defense. And now they get to face a Bengals team traveling across the country all the way to L.A. with zero chance of making the playoffs. Zero. The AFC's, too loaded with guys that beat them like Denver, Baltimore. They're not making the playoffs. Even the Colts, Now, the starter quarterback, we all know Andy Dalton is out. I don't like the backup quarterback that much, Kessler. And the most important to me, AJ Green re-hurt himself, and he is done for the season. They're throwing to pretty much no names now. Boyd's pretty good, but it's his first year coming out, and Ross is still really young. There's no I guess, camaraderie there. They haven't been together long enough to do anything. This team also lost a few offensive tackles recently. They have 2 cornerbacks that are questionable. Their injury report's long. I don't even see how the Bengals can or why they even want to score here. Why? Just kind of get healthy. You know, I'll be shocked if this team scores 10 points. So their season's completely done. I don't know how their coach survives this. You know how they brought over Hugh Jackson? A lot of Bengals fans are scared they're going to make him the head coach. But their season's done in the Chargers. They're fighting for a bye week in the playoffs still. They still want that bye week if they can somehow win the division. But I don't know how possible that is. But, Kansas City is a little bit vulnerable. The Chargers are not done. I love the Chargers, and I'm laying the 14 points here. I think this score is going to be something like 32-13 or 32-10, 28-10, something like that. But I don't think the Chargers stop scoring, and I don't see how the Bengals can score. Joey Bosa's back. Lock it up.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Moving on to the next game, Minnesota versus Seattle, laying 3 points at home. So here's a situation where it's kind of a must-win for both teams. Now, it's even more of a must-win for Minnesota because they had that tie. They're 6-5-1. Seattle's 7-5. And Minnesota's even more in danger of missing the playoffs than Seattle. Seattle, at least they know that they're playing the 49ers and the Cardinals left, and they get the Chiefs at home for the 3 games after this. At least they know that. What's glaring to me is that Seattle really hasn't faced a hard NFC West schedule this year. The Niners are terrible now. They're supposed to be good, but injuries and losing their quarterback, Garoppolo, did it all. And the Cardinals are so down this year that they fired a bunch of people as well. Now, they also got to play the Raiders and the Lions this year. I don't think the Seattle schedule was that bad, and I think they caught some teams at some very good times. Now, I love Russell Wilson, and we must not forget that, he's the reason why this team is so far this year. They've lost a ton from last year. They really have. And they've had to outscore opponents this year. They really have. And they got their run game figured out. And I think that, he's passing a Lockett. Lockett's been their best receiver. Baldwin's actually been the second guy, a little bit injured this year. The Vikings have had some major injuries with Everson Griffin, Anthony Barr, and Xavier Rhodes, but they're all healthy now. They were all out before, sometimes at the same time. But now that these guys are all healthy, the Vikings defense is, I'm going to say, much better than the Seahawks. I think they're much better. And I expect that, the defense will travel very well this week because this team is dying to win the division. Right now they have more losses by 2 than they even had all of last year. Lots of pressure on Kirk Cousins to have a great game. I have him in fantasy. He better have a great game. I think he will against this defense. I also like the fact that they just played a great offense in the Patriots. And, that should get them a little bit more ready for a Seattle offense. And Dalvin Cook, he showed some great signs of speed last week. He really did. So, in my opinion, because of the defense, and I like Minnesota's defense and their need to win more, I think the wrong team is favored here. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings. I'm taking them +3. And don't forget to put a little bit on the money line. Next, we have our 4th play. And it is a good one because you know who my favorite team is. The Chicago Bears. And LA Rams, are playing the Chicago Bears. The LA Rams looked at as the best or second